Oh my God, you guys. Welcome back to another episode of Before the Downbeat, a musical podcast. Snaps! I am your ginger host, Mackenzie. Autumn is away right now because she is actually taking on the task of directing the musical of one of our most controversial episodes, Rent. Stepping into her shoes, we have someone who is well situated for this show, as she is also blonde. It is the incredible Ms. Jessica Maxwell from Portable 303. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Thanks for having me back.
Right? I mean, you are now fast becoming one of our most frequent guests. I mean, you and Lynn, the two of you are like neck and neck at this point for like guest appearances.
That's crazy.
Right? Who would have thought back when you said, sure, Mac, I'll come on for an episode about Rent. Why not? Like, it'll be like a one thing off. And like, nope, we got you back for a heck of a lot more and more to come.
You just can't get rid of me. Sorry.
It's true.
Deal with it.
It's true. But Jessica, what are we talking about today?
Well, Mackenzie, we're like totally going to Harvard Law School and we're going to talk all about Legally Blonde, the musical.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God, you guys. Looks like Elle's gonna win the prize. If there ever was a perfect couple, this one qualifies. Oh my God, you guys. Oh my God, this is happening. Our old homecoming queen and king. Finally she'll be trying on a huge engagement ring for size. Oh my God, you guys. Oh my God.
Jessica, is there blood in the water?
Yeah, but I'm not positive. What you want is some more details about this musical that we'll dive into.
Right? And Jessica, is this musical gay or European?
You have to bend and snap it to find out.
Everybody.
Let's stop these puns while we're ahead.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we're talking about Legally Blonde, the musical. But yeah, this was I mean, I will happily claim it as a Mac pick. This was one where Jessica and I were talking about Autumn's away, Jessica's coming back, what are we going to do? And I was like, why don't we do Legally Blonde? That's such a fun show. And Autumn was like, yeah, have at it. so I'll have to ask her at another time why she's not overly eager about tackling this show. But for me, I like it because it knows what it is and delivers on it. It doesn't try and take itself too seriously, but also knows how to give proper character building moments and real empathy and pathos. Like it's not just comedy for the sake of comedy. Like there are real grounded character beats in this piece. And when it goes for those deeper moments, it does hit pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
And it really does make you feel for Elle and Paulette and Emmett, even UPS guy, Brendan. Kyle.
His middle name is Brendan.
His middle name is Brendan. Like, or even Vivian. Like, there are many of these moments that you go, oh wow, you actually are hitting some deeper character stuff here. You're not just relying on the comedy to get you through this show. And I mean, it's such a great story. I mean, it's truly an inspirational story about overcoming those preconceived conceptions that people have about someone, whether you're big, short, blonde, brunette, redheaded, whatever. People look at you one way and they assume something, when deep down, this music is all about viewing someone based on their merits, not on their appearance and your preconceptions of them. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, that's just such a great message that everybody needs to hear at all times. And also it's just fun because my sister Quincy, who is a blonde as well, is also in the midst of pursuing her law degree. So she is actually living the life of being legally blonde, even though I'm not sure she would quite enjoy being compared to Elle Woods. I mean, she gets very upset when Elle wears the pink suit into court. She goes, that is not acceptable. You do not wear pink into a courtroom. But I'm like, Quincy, it's a movie. Get over it.
It's a movie.
It's a movie. It's a musical. Get over it. But I will say my first experiences of this show came thanks to Jay Maxwell here. Because in high school, similar to Next Door, where she just talked about these shows that I had no conception of, she was like, here's the CD for Legally Blonde. Like, I think you'll like it. And I'm like, oh, I loved Ireland, the song Ireland. This is like, I hate that song. And I was like, oh, great. Oh, great. But, but then I watched the MTV recording on YouTube. And then at York, there was a local student production that was mounted in a little black box theater, which was fun. Some of my residents were in it. So I went to show my dawn support for them. But yeah, this is just kind of just a nice, fun, upbeat musical, and it kind of leaves, and you kind of come away bopping and just feeling good. Or what does Elle say in Legally Blonde about Brooke can't kill Preston because it's endorphins, right?
Endorphins make you happy, and happy people just don't kill.
Exactly. So you come away with all these happy endorphins, and it's like, yeah, I feel good. I feel good coming out of this. So yeah, that's my experiences and why I kind of pitched it to Jay Maxwell here. Jessica, like, give us the rundown about you and your experiences with this musical, why you agreed to come back and do this particular one, because there was a few we were pitching to each other. And this was kind of the one we landed on as our pick.
Yeah. Well, you hit the nail on the head with a lot of that. I really love that it is a feel-good musical. And I think sometimes you need that. There's some shows that can be really heavy. And
Spring Awakening.
Les Mis.
Les Mis. Yeah.
Like you walk
Cats.
away. Yeah, that one's really heavy.
You come away feeling things.
You feel something. But yeah, it's a show that everything you said was so spot on. Like, there's all these preconceived notions that we have about certain people, and you kind of realize that, hey, actually, like, these labels that you're slapping on don't amount to anything, because these characters end up being totally different on the other side of things. I love the story too. I want to say it has like a little bit of an underdog feel, but like
Elle's a total underdog.
Elle's an underdog, right? Like,
I mean, she's a privileged underdog who's going to pay her way to Harvard.
Yeah,
but still, she's an underdog. She still studied for the LSATs. She showed she was like tenacious for it. She was after it. And when she gets there, like, she is still after it. And I think that's a really admirable quality. And like, the few times where she gets knocked down, like, and when you really think she's going to give up, like, you keep rooting for her. You're rooting for her the whole time. And so that's like, I love the story for that. And that's why I was totally down to come on and talk about it, because I love those kind of stories. Yeah.
My exposure to Legally Blonde started with the movie. I was familiar with it. I had seen it. And then I don't know when I first heard of the musical. I think it came
to Toronto, didn't it?
It did. I was probably about 14 when I first got into it. I'm sure it was on the advice of my theater going friends, who have also introduced me to Next to Normal and Spring Awakening. And I was like, okay, well, like, I know the story and I like it. And I listened to the cast recording and I really loved it. I thought the songs were really fun and bouncy, and I figured the musical had the same premise as the movie, which it does. And then I saw the first national tour in the summer of 2010 when it stopped in Toronto. Yeah. And stage production was also amazing. And I'm sure I watched the MTV recording. And actually, I remember watching, they did it was like the MTV search for the next Elle Woods.
Yes, the 8 trust me, we will get into that.
Okay. I remember watching that. I think while it was airing.
It aired that summer.
No, it's like
or
2008, I think.
2008, correct.
Yeah.
Opened in 2007, yes.
Right. So I want to say I watched it in real time, because I remember that was right around the time when I started to actively follow it. And then so first national tour, and I still love it. So
I mean, people forget, like, 2008, 2009, that type of marketing of, like, first of all, doing a pro shot of a Broadway musical that's running was, like, unheard of. And
not to mention
on, like a reality show. Like, now we get them all the time with, like, the search for Dorothy, the search for Maria. Like, we've had the search for Nancy and Oliver. They did it over in London. Like, now it's a common thing to do. Like, a marketing campaign where you find the lead that people really invest in,
Well,
right? Like
and
this is, yeah.
especially interesting for a show that received mixed reviews.
Yes.
Like to
Mhm.
put a lot of money and marketing into it.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive.
Right? And I mean, if they're better than Diana the Musical did, which also did a pro shot of its Broadway show that closed after 33 performances. For Mac's thoughts on that, tune into Cup of Hemlock. We just did a whole duet review of that one, and that was I can see why it closed. This was Legally Blonde is leaps and bounds better than Diana the Musical for sure. But yeah, well, just let's get these people a plot description for those of you who have never seen the Reese Witherspoon 2001 movie. The movie came out in 2001. There's a third one coming out this summer.
Is it coming out this summer?
This summer.
I just heard it was in production.
Nope, this summer. It's on the slate for this summer to be released. Yeah, it's Legally Blonde, based on a book and then a movie. It basically follows the same plot. There's a few minor differences. Like in the movie, there's a female professor played by Holland Taylor. It's like she's a character, and then they kind of gave some of her plot points, like kicking Elle out of class. Went to Callahan versus her. She's the one in the hairdresser shop who convinces Elle to go back to the trial at the end. Like a few minor things, like they consolidated a few characters to help make things simpler. Like there's the geeky classmate of Elle's that she takes under her wing. Like there's the famous scene where she slaps him and says, "You never call me back," and that suddenly gets him all the hot women on campus. That type of thing. So like there's a few minor plot points that get changed, but basically it's the same plot. In general, this musical tells the story of Elle Woods, a sorority girl who enrolls in Harvard Law School to win back her ex-boyfriend, Warner. At first, she is failing and falling short of her potential, but Elle partners with her TA, Emmett, and turns things around, particularly in her class with Professor Callahan, who is offering an opportunity to intern at his law firm. As she improves, she discovers how her knowledge of law can help others, such as her hairdresser friend, Paulette, who is leaving a messy common law relationship. Elle ultimately wins one of the coveted internship spots alongside Warner and his new girlfriend, Vivian. Together, Elle and the other interns aid Callahan as he takes on the case of defending exercise queen Brooke Wyndham, who is charged with murdering her much older husband. Elle proves herself by not only obtaining Brooke's alibi, but also during the trial when she spots that a key witness for the prosecution is lying on the stand. And with Emmett's help, they prove her theory true. With her successes, Elle believes that she's proven herself to both Warner and Callahan. But while she's alone in Callahan's office, he assaults Elle by kissing her. Elle slaps Callahan, and in turn, he fires her while confessing that she only got her spot because of her looks. Warner and Vivian both see the kiss, but Warner turns away in anger, leaving Vivian to be the only one who witnesses the slap. After Callahan leaves Elle, Warner re-enters the office and mocks Elle, but Vivian tells him to shut up, and they both leave Elle alone in the office. Elle, then very upset, plans to leave Harvard and go back to her life in LA, but while she's saying goodbye to her friend Paulette, Vivian comes and convinces Elle to stay. Elle returns to the court, where Brooke fires Callahan and hires Elle, with Emmett staying on as like a legal advisor, person with a law degree who can actually supervise. Elle successfully defends Brooke and wins the murder trial by proving Brooke's stepdaughter, Chutney, such a great name, killed her father by accident when she tried to kill Brooke by using her knowledge of hair maintenance, proving that Chutney could have been in the shower after she got a perm. Great scene. Don't think we need to go to an actual bathroom to do the scene. I think it could have Alice in the courtroom would have been fine.
I know. I was watching that again today, and I was like,
such
an unnecessary shuffle.
Right? Exactly. Just stay in the courtroom. That scene is great in the courtroom as it is.
Mm-hmm.
I going better if there wasn't even a song in there. Just have Elle recite the monologue from the movie.
Yeah.
That scene is such a great scene in the movie. Anyway, so following her win in court, Warner proposes to Elle after having been dumped by Vivian. Elle gently refuses, claiming that she has been changed by this experience. Elle ultimately graduates and is her class's valedictorian. At the end of graduation, Elle proposes to Emmett, who happily accepts. The end.
That was a really great condensed version.
Thank you.
If you had me do it, I would have gone into so much detail.
Well, I mean, I love the character Paula. There was so much more I could get into her and Kyle, the UPS guy, but I was like, no, keep it just focused on the central plot.
Yep.
Just like writing a book report. What is the plot summary? Don't give me the whole novel rewritten.
Oh, I was
Give
so
me the
bad for
plot
that
summary.
though. I gave the whole plot.
Oh my. But yeah, that's the plot. So Jessica, why don't you give us who we have on the creative team? Because we have a whole new team, from what from what I understand.
We have a really great creative team. So you briefly mentioned that Legally Blonde is based on a book, which it is. The book was written by Amanda Brown in 2000 or was released in 2001, and it was based on her experience going to law school. She went to Stanford, I believe, and she was like the bubbly blonde that was at law school. And so she just kind of based her experience on that and then paired it with a fictional story. To my knowledge, she wasn't that involved with the musical. It's just the likeliness that carried over. Our book for the musical was written by Heather Hatch. Outside of Legally Blonde, she has had quite a few film credits, including writing the screenplay for the 2003 remake of Freaky Friday, which starred Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis. She also did the screenplay for What to Expect When You're Expecting with Cameron Diaz, Jennifer Lopez, and Elizabeth Banks. That came out in 2012. She was also a writing assistant on the TV show Dilbert. And she wrote a book with Mary Rogers called Freaky Monday, which is similar to Freaky Friday, but instead of a mother and daughter, it's a student and teacher that swap places.
And Mary Rogers, J. Maxwell, is the daughter of Richard Rogers.
Is that the same one?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Or is that just a coincidence?
Yeah, no. Mary Rogers is the daughter of Richard Rogers.
What?
She's written a whole bunch of stuff, Mary Rogers. Like, she's a very prolific.
No, this has got no way.
Yeah, Mary Rogers, whose dad is Richard Rogers, who we just talked about in the last episode, because he and Oscar Hammerstein team up and do King and I, Sound of Music.
I can't believe I didn't know this.
Yeah.
No way.
Mary Rogers, she's very prolific.
So that's that for Heather's most notable credits. Moving on to music and lyrics. These were done by Lawrence O'Keefe and his wife, Nell Benjamin. They've done quite a bit together, and I'll get into that. But for their individual credits, I'll start with Lawrence. Outside of Legally Blonde, he also wrote the music for Bat Boy, the musical, which ran off-Broadway in 2001. He also wrote the music for Heathers, the musical, which ran off-Broadway in 2014.
Oh, classic there.
Classic.
Welcome to the candy store.
Love it.
Maybe that'll be another one you and I will do.
That might be. I've seen it. That was a good one. Outside of that, he is a active teacher and writer for the Broadway and New York theater communities. He has taught master classes at NYU, Berklee College of Music, Yale University, and of course, Harvard. His credits with his wife include The Mice, Cam Jensen, and Sarah Plainenthal. Nell Benjamin, outside of Legally Blonde, she wrote her first full-length play called The Explorers Club, which premiered off-Broadway in 2013. She wrote the lyrics to Mean Girls, which was a stage adaptation of the 2004 film of the same name. She did that with Jeff Richmond, who composed the music, and Tina Fey, who wrote the book. She wrote the lyrics to the musical Dave, which was based on the 1993 film of the same name. And then she also wrote the book and lyrics for the musical adaptation of Because of Winn-Dixie, which is based on the novel of the same name, with music composed by Duncan Sheik of Spring Awakening.
Aha! Well, Spring Awakening will come back. It does have an impact on this musical.
It does.
You will see.
How do I not know this? I'm supposed to know this. Anyway, moving on. Legally Blonde was directed and choreographed by Jerry Mitchell, who has had a number of credits in the theater community as both a director and choreographer, and sometimes both. Mitchell's first Broadway production as a sole choreographer was the 1999 revival of You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. Some of his other credits, either as a choreographer or director or both, include the 1994 revival of Grease, The Full Monty, Hairspray, the 2004 revival of La Cage aux Folles, Catch Me If You Can, Kinky Boots, and most recently, Pretty Woman, the musical. He has also choreographed for films such as Camp, In and Out, and Drop Dead Gorgeous. He also created and for many years directed the annual Broadway Bears benefit for Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS.
No.
Yep.
Good for him. I love that.
Yep. Our set design was done by David Rockwell, who also has a long list of credits. He is the founder and president of Rockwell Group, and he has done many set designs and projects around the world for everything from theaters to restaurants to hotels. He's a really well-known and well-regarded architect. His Broadway set design credits outside of Legally Blonde include Hairspray, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, Catch Me If You Can, Kinky Boots, On Your Feet, Falsettos, Pretty Woman, and Tootsie.
Huh. So yeah, this team is stacked.
Yeah. And like when I'm mentioning their credits, these are just some of them. Like,
yeah,
there's so many others here. But we'd be here all day.
We would.
And lastly, for costume design, we have costumes designed by Greg Barnes. Also has had a long list of credits, but some include Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, The Drowsy Chaperone, Legally Blonde, Bye Bye Birdie, Elf the Musical, Kinky Boots, Aladdin, and most recently, Mean Girls.
Ah, so see, Mean Girls, like the team kind of pulled themselves back together a bit.
I know, and Hairspray and Kinky Boots. So it goes to show it's a small world.
Indeed, it is. Indeed.
Theater world is a small world.
Perfect. All right, well, is that it for bios, J. Maxwell?
That's it.
Let's get into some production history. So first off, I want to say, surprisingly, there is little documentation charting the creation process for this musical. There's lots of notes following when it came out, but there's very little about the actual writing process. So I am piecing together what I have. So following the success of the 2001 film, work began on creating a musical. During the development phase of the musical, a demo recording was released with 12 songs featuring Carrie Butler and others as Elle. The demo featured workshop versions of the songs There Right There, labeled on the sampler as Gay or European. Don't know why they changed the title. I think that's a better title for the song. Like, There Right There is never quite... I'm always like, oh yeah, that's what that song is. And then Blood in the Water, Oh My God, You Guys, Serious, What You Want, Legally Blonde Remix, So Much Better, and Take It Like a Man. In addition to 2 songs not present in the finalized version of the show, Beacon of Positivity, which became Love and War for the previous, and eventually became Positive for the finalized version of the show, and Good Boy, a song in which Paulette and Elle bond over the idea that men are like dogs and should therefore be treated as such, which was ultimately replaced by the song Ireland. The musical did a preview run in San Francisco at the Golden Gate Theater from January the 23rd to February the 25th in 2007. The musical then moved to Broadway and opened at the Palace Theater on April the 29th, 2007. The musical's opening night cast included Laura Bell Bundy, who we talked about when we did Hairspray, all the way back in season 2, was in the lead as Elle Woods, Christian Borle as Emmett, Orphe was Paulette, Kate Schindel as Vivian, Nikki Snelson as Brooke Wyndham, Andy Carl as Kyle the UPS guy, and Michael Rupert as Professor Callahan. The musical received mixed reviews, but was praised for being a fun and upbeat production. Ben Brantley said when reviewing the musical in the New York Times that the show was high energy, empty calories, and an expensive-looking hymn to the glories of girlishness. He praised Laura Bell Bundy, saying she sings and dances flawlessly and delivers silly lines as if she meant them. The musical received 7 Tony Award nominations, including Best Performance by an Actress in a Lead Role in a Musical for Laura Bell Bundy, Best Performance by a Supporting Actress in a Musical for Orphe, Best Performance by an Actor in a Featured Role for Christian Borle, and Best Book and Score for Heather Hatch, Lawrence O'Keefe, and Nell Benjamin. This was the year of Spring Awakening. So it took a majority of the awards, including Christopher Borle losing out to John Gallagher Jr. in Spring Awakening. So that's kind of where Spring Awakening came in and cut the show down.
That's right. That makes sense.
There. So, but that being said, the show still soldiered on. The musical was filmed for television in front of a live audience on September the 18th, 2007, as well as 2 other dates where it was filmed without an audience. The 3 performances were then edited together and were broadcast on MTV on October 13th and 14th in 2007, with subsequent air dates a few months later. MTV's involvement with the musical continued with a reality show program called Legally Blonde Musical, The Search for Elle Woods, which aimed to cast the next actress to play Elle Woods on Broadway, replacing Laura Bell Bundy. The show was hosted by Haley Duff, sister to
Hilary Duff.
You got it. And premiered in June 2008 on MTV. The show ran for 8 episodes and was won by Bailey Hanks, age 20, from Anderson, South Carolina. Hanks debuted as Elle Woods on July 23rd, 2008. The production closed on October 19th, 2008, after playing 30 previews and 595 regular performances. The run was considered a financial disappointment and failed to fully recoup its investment. Other thing we got to note is that in 2008, we were just about to head into the recession, or we were in the midst of the recession by that point. Yeah. So I'm sure that also had an economic play on why the show didn't last longer.
Well, yeah, there were a whole slew of shows that closed from 2008 to the beginning of 2009.
Yeah, Hairspray being one of them.
Spring Awakening was too.
Yep. All right, that's a sad note. Anyway, the musical then went on a North American tour, which Jay Maxwell saw. And then in 2009, Legally Blonde opened in the West End and notably featured a rewritten version of the song Ireland. Nell Benjamin explained the reason for this change was due to the song originally being written for this woman who really romanticizes the country and the concept of Ireland, which she knows nothing about. But this is not something that resonates so much in England. They do not romanticize Ireland. No kidding. They seem to be rather afraid of it, in fact. I wonder why. There's a little bit of historical tension there. So they in turn altered Paulette's character from someone still in the deluded state to now someone who is wised up from her past experiences. Benjamin further elaborated that it is not so much that she is just in love with the country. It is that Irishmen do something to her. In this new version, she was told by her grandfather, who she obviously trusted, that Irishmen were the best in the world. So she never goes and looks up Ireland because she believes what she was told and has this dream. This new version of the song was implemented in subsequent productions, so it did well. The West End production proved popular and had a £2 million advance ticket sales before it officially opened, so pretty darn good there. This production was also the first production to offer a ticket lottery, which is a popular Broadway show program, which Jay Maxwell has used frequently.
Countless times.
Way to go. The West End show won 3 Laurence Olivier Awards, including Best New Musical, Best Actress in a Musical for Sheridan Smith, who played Elle, and Best Performance by a Supporting Role in a Musical for Jill Halfpenny, who played Paulette. The show closed in London on April 7th, 2012, after 974 performances, significantly more than it played on Broadway. A London revival has been announced for Regent's Park Open Air Theatre from the 13th of May to July the 2nd, 2022. And that's ends production history.
Cool.
So once again, much less than I had for King and I, but there's still some goodies in there. I highly recommend go listening to both versions of Ireland. It is a fascinating way they redid the song.
I didn't know they redid the song. Now I will have to go and listen to it. Yeah. Super interesting that it did better in the UK than it did on Broadway.
Right?
I love reading about stuff like that. Is it just like how the audience perceives it? Like, or is it marketing?
I mean, once again, it's one of these weird things where it's not similar to a movie, but even more so. Theater is all about right time, right place.
For sure.
That unlike say a film that it can live forever, like say a movie doesn't do well when it first comes out, but everybody like Shawshank Redemption, classic example of this. A movie that failed miserably at the box office, got nominated for all these Oscars, didn't win a damn thing, and it was only because the producer bought the TV rights and also owned a TV station that he started airing it on TV a whole bunch, that it got the word of mouth going. And now it's become one of the most beloved films of all time.
So interesting.
Film's lucky that you can kind of refine things that maybe don't get a good viewing the first time around for whatever reason. Theater is a different story, where if you missed your mark, you missed your mark.
Sorry. Yeah.
There's no there's nothing like Diana the Musical, where it's one of the lucky ones where it didn't do well, but it has this pro shot that exists that people can watch to examine it. I mean, not many shows get a pro shot to begin with. So the fact that that's the case, where unfortunately, I think the recession was a big thing. I don't think people were in the right headspace to go and watch a bubbly musical. I mean, you'd think a recession would bring that on people, but when people are desperate and just wanting to survive, the last thing they want to do is go pay money to be. Oh my God, you guys!
We were coming into an election year,
election year. Yeah, so there's a lot of X factors that maybe affected the Broadway run. So maybe we'll get to it at the end, but we'll talk about the a potential revival. We will talk. But in the meantime, let's not skip ahead. Jay Maxwell, let's get into our top 3 songs. What is your number 1 song, ma'am?
Yes, my number 1 song is So Much Better.
Singing my name up on that list. That brings the first time every kiss. Thought I was dumb, but I think that somebody's judgment was wrong. Saying my name in black and white. It's like making love with you all night. No wait, it feels so much better. Hello, much better. It's much better. 'Cause I know so much better than before. Yes, she's so much better than before. Yes, she's so much better than before.
That did not make my list.
Oh, well,
I have another Elwood song on my list.
she sings a lot, so I wouldn't doubt it. That is my number 1 pick. It's a great season 1. Act 1.
Yeah.
We're talking about TV shows and movies. That's a great ending to Act 1. It's like the moment you've been waiting for the whole first act. Like you just want her to get that moment, like where
want her to win.
You want her to win, exactly. And it's that slight, like right before the song starts and Warner proposes to Vivian, and it's like that. Was this worth any of it? Oh my gosh, like, am I even like, what's the point? And then my name's up on that list. I worked so hard and I did it. And there's proof right there in that black and white. And then it's the anticipation after, like, I'll be there on Monday, 9:00. No, I can't wait. I'll be there at 8. Like,
it's defying gravity. It's another
totally.
It's gravity. It's
the moment you're waiting for. It's the build up and the big.
Yeah, vocally it just builds, and I mean I always love when they say the word up, it scoops up. Seeing my name up on that list, like it scoops right up, and I mean it's such a big energy boost at the end of the act. Oh yeah, where you've been plodding along, you're seeing her get these small wins, and then crap, Warner pops the bubble. And you think, oh no. And then it's like, oh, but wait. And I mean, once it's another great moment of translating a moment of just a look in the movie where you see Reese Witherspoon watch, I forget who plays Warner in the movie, but it's Selma Blair plays Vivian. And I mean, you see that moment in the film and it's just heartbreaking. And then she sees the list and in the movie it's just me. Right? And I mean, you take that moment and you just expand it out and you just grow it. And it's sort of these great organic moments where it's like, well, of course you put a song here. And of course this is where you end Act 1.
You spend the whole first act watching her get to Harvard, and she gets there, and that's great. And then it's like, okay, now she's going to be part of this big case. And that's what leads into Act 2.
Exactly.
So it's at the perfect spot.
Yeah.
It's this big, great Act 1 finale.
Mhm.
She does her little jump at the end. It's great.
Yeah. In
It's-
heels, jumps in heels.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a defying gravity moment. And it's like you're rooting for the underdog.
Totally.
If you get the right person to play Elle, the audience believes that, right? Like they're believing
Elle's a
that.
tough role. Like, people underestimate the character of Elle Woods. I mean, there's so many plates you have to spin as that character. Where
Yeah.
on one hand you got to play the ditz a bit, where because Elle does play ditzy at
Mhm.
times, and that's part of her journey is getting away from playing that role to get what she wants to relying on her skills, not her looks and her kind of
And to
blonde.
kind of like cool it down a
preconceptions.
little.
She
Like
totally
she's
tones
like
it down.
up here, and then it's
Yeah.
like this slow kind of like, all right, I can still wear pink to the courtroom, but like I'm just gonna play it cool.
Yeah,
Because
she
I
matures.
have actually it's a huge character growth.
Big character growth. And I mean, yeah, the plates you got to spin to get that role to work properly. I mean, there's comedy, there's heart,
Yep.
sincerity. You got to play that. You got to find the sincerity in that role.
Mhm.
It's not
There's
just
a
enough to
heartbreak,
play.
like
Huge heartbreak, huge heartfalls. So yeah, I mean, it's a great Act 1. It almost made my list, but I have another Elwood song that I liked a little bit more. But my
Which-
number one, though, Jay Maxwell, is one that got us started on this musical a long time ago. But it's Ireland is my number one.
In Ireland, they know how to love you. You embrace in the misty Irish breeze. And if your Irish boy tires of you, you're allowed to shoot him in the knees. Hey, you look like that poster for Ireland. Long blonde hair and that sweet sunny face. Oh no, wait, that's the poster for Sweden. Oh, screw it, I'll never see either place.
that's not an Elwood song though.
My
How
Elwood
else
song
is
is my
that?
number two.
Oh, okay,
But
sorry.
Ireland is number one. Ireland
Okay.
is number one.
You know what? That ended up making my list.
Your top three list?
Yeah.
I am shocked.
I
Everybody, this is a shocking moment.
I revisited it. Especially when watching, sorry, not to take away from you, just briefly.
No, go.
Just, I revisited it, and it's kind of a fitting moment in the scene of it. Elle's having this breakdown, and here's Paulette that's like, so I had this dream of visiting Ireland, and like,
It's called Celtic Modes.
so good. And it's like, it's a whole thing. But like by the end, she's like, this was my dream and
Mhm.
I haven't been able to go after it. But here's your dream.
Mhm.
You go after it.
You go
And,
and
like-
you fight for it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so that
Yeah.
made me change my mind.
Yeah, it's a great song. And it was the first song I liked in this show. I mean, it really is a bit more of an upbeat version of I Dreamed a Dream. I mean, Paulette is very kind of similar to Fontaine, where she has lost her dog, lost her house, lost her savings, like lost her guy. Like she is kind of down in the dumps when Elle meets her. I mean, they have a much happier ending for Paulette than they do Fontaine, but it's still like this is like a I Dream a
Kind
Dream
of.
song. Like the whole last line of "Give my love to the leprechauns" is very much along the same lines of "Now life has killed the dream I dreamed." Because at the end of her original song, not the reprise, she's kind of given up, right? That's why because her whole last verse is all about, oh yeah, you with the blonde hair and the smile, you're like the perfect poster for Ireland. Oh wait, that's Sweden. Oh screw it, I'll never see either place. She has resigned herself to being at the bottom of the hole, looking up at the sun at all
And
times.
she
She's
says
given up.
too to
Yeah.
Elle, she's like, you look like you're the kind of girl that sees
Yeah.
Ireland.
Exactly. Yeah, girls like you always get to see Ireland.
Yeah.
And it's tragic. Like, and the fact that it's done with this really beautiful listing Celtic music, and it really captures that feel. And I mean, so as someone of descent from Ireland and Scotland, this song always hit me in the right spot, and it just paints this really beautiful, idealistic picture of Ireland. And I mean, even when you get into the UK version, which is really a neat one, because once again, it's that Paulette's a harder Paulette. The Broadway Paulette's, as I say, she's much more diluted or disillusioned character where she's still got the blinders on. The one in the one in the UK version has a really sad verse where she's talking about her grandfather, where she says,
In a bar once I met this guy, Dewey, and he bought me like 14 beers. And he told me that he was from Ireland, and I lived with him 10 years. And my wedding he kept on postponing. Still I followed him round in a fog, till he left with some skank he'd been boning. Took my savings and took my dog. My grandfather should have just shut it. Every story he told me stirred me wrong. All the dreams that he gave me got gutted. All that's left is this weird Enya song.
like, it's a tragic,
Interesting.
it's a tragic verse when you really think about it. Like, it's someone who has really kind of had the shit kicked out of them. And I mean, the fact that then you have this reprise, which is, or Paulette seeing Elle going and chasing her dream actually gives her a bit of juice.
There's a guy at that party who loves you, something most of us only dream of. You go out there and you get some Marvin, the country of whiskey and love.
Yeah, a little bit of
To
hope.
go to pick up and fight, because I mean, Paulette is someone who is kind of given up, and then all comes this character of Elle, and I mean, Elle, that's Elle's gift, is that she comes in and lifts anybody up, and makes them feel better about this. Emmett's another character she does that to. Brooke Wyndham, she does that to. Enid, her partner, her intern partner, she connects well with. And that's the whole story. Even Vivian, right? Vivian.
Yeah, like by the end,
connects
for
with
sure.
By the end. And I mean, that's Elle's gift. And I mean, this song is just such a thing. I mean, Orfeh just kills this with the belting she does in this
She's
song.
so good. Yeah.
It gives
Her
you
acting's great too.
Yeah. Also, that's another tough role where you can play it really broad,
Mhm.
but Orfeh plays this with sincerity. The
Mhm.
pain of this song, when she really drops into it. There's the jokes of, I call it Celtic moods, like, or the whale call, right?
Yeah.
When it drops in, she drops in and she
Mhm.
sings it with total sincerity. Like, I would see Orfeh play Fontaine. I think she'd be great. But yeah, Ireland, it is such a good song that gets not enough love and attention, but it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Why didn't you like it all those years ago? I want to know. Like, back in the day when I came and told you I liked it, you were like, I don't like the song. I hate it. I skip it.
Because I was obsessed with songs like What You Want and Positive and Oh My God, You Guys, because I was 14 and I didn't know any better.
True. I hadn't shown you Les Mis yet.
Yeah, that really
That changed the gameplay.
it did change the game.
Yeah. All right. What's your number 2?
My number 2 was Ireland.
Okay. So my number 2 is my Elle Woods song, which is What You Want.
There is where you'll see it too. Wonder what you want is right in front of you. What you want is clear. What you want right here. What you want is right in front of you. What you want is clear. What you want right here. What you want is right in front of you. Step 1, he's off to Harvard Law, so I get in there too. Step 2, make Warner reassess. Impress him with my high IQ. Step 3, we throw a great big wedding and invite all Delta New. That's great. Nice plan. Now, can we think this through? Harvard Law School? I have a 4.0 average. Yeah, in fashion merchandising. What makes you think you can do this? Love, I'm doing this for love, and love will see me through. Yes, with love on my side, I can't lose, and Harvard can't refuse. A love so pure and true. Don't lawyers feel love too?
Nice.
Yeah. So this was the one where I go, once again, this is a tough moment where you got to translate something from film or the novel, but the film is really the main source.
Mostly.
Here, where you got to get this study montage figured out. And you got to get her from point A to point B. And that can really drag a show down, but they wrote a really good song in here.
Yeah.
Where like Elle, you get carried through the action of this moment. It's very cinematic with how it moves into different vignettes, like Elle coming up with a plan, big sturdy books, big wordy books, words that I'll understand, right? Like you start there and then you get into okay, this is what you got to get done with her nerdy sorority sister. Then you got the frat boys. Then you got her boozy parents, who are hilarious. I love her boozy parents. And then of course you got her winning the test scores. And then of course you got the big whole Harvard admission board finale piece. But it's so energetic and it just moves. You just get dragged into this.
Yeah.
And the whole way you're just, come on now. And I mean, I love the timpani in this. The love, boom, 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 boom. Like it's a heartbeat. Like because she's talking about love, and that's what's driving her to do this task is her love for this guy who doesn't love her, but that's besides the point. But like her love, and she's sincere about it. Like when her parents say, "Why do you want to go to a place where they all have different noses?" Right? Great line. But she says it's love, and and it's part of her Harvard mission that she wins them over in the end. The one guy with, all right, do it for love. Like, have you ever been in love? Right? And it's beautiful. Like once again, it's that yin and yang where you get this big energetic marching number, but then you have Elle dropping into a really sincere moment of, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
And I mean, I love the harmony with her parents with the,
Tell me what's out there that you can get right here.
Yeah.
all right. I love their harmony on that. It just always sounds so good on my ears that I actually rewind that little snippet because I'm like, oh, that harmony is so good. And I mean,
I love the comparison that you mentioned about putting it with a heartbeat. I never thought of it like that, but that's totally it.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole, like, I love that the lyrics are centered around that because it's the same thing kind of in the film where they're like, why are you doing this? Like, this isn't you. Like,
yeah,
you're supposed to, like, you have a 4.0.
Stay by the pool, hang out with the frat boys.
And stay in Malibu. Like, you have a 4.0
in fashion
merchandising. What are you going to go to law school for? She's like, it's for love.
It's for love. And she's sincere about it. And I mean, once again, that's the power of the show is when you get the right person to play Elle.
Yep.
They can drop in that moment and be sincere and not play that for comedy where you feel like, oh yeah, sure, love, like screw off. Like, it's like, no, like, if you play it right, you can really hit the moment and really make it feel good.
Especially too, because like when you're watching as the audience, like you can see that Warner doesn't care. Like he's like, I'm looking for someone serious, less of a Marilyn, more of a Jackie. Like also a great line, one of my favorite lines. Like, and that's it. Like he's like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Thanks for a fun couple of years, but like I need someone more serious. And she could take that and wallow in pity forever, but instead, like
she figures out a plan.
He's like, no, you know what? I love this guy. Coming back to the topic of love, like I love him. I'm gonna prove that I'm serious. I'll show you. Yeah. And I think I really feel like that's when we really start to root for her.
Yo, you absolutely root for her in that moment. It's the first win of the show, right? Like, the first two songs are set up for Elle getting engaged. That doesn't happen. So then you're like, oh, sad. And it's like, no, Elle gets a win. Like, it's what's going to showing Elle's the underdog. She doesn't win everything all at once, but she's throughout the show notching up these little wins until she gets to the end and wins the day where she's valedictorian. She gets Emmett. She gets all the things she wanted. But yeah, I love this song. And it's a great I Want song, right? I mean, this is the I Want song of the show. So once again, it's very simplistic where it's like, this is what I want. I'm going to go chase it. But you buy into it. Like, first you're like, yeah, okay, sure. And I mean, like the whole thing where she's doing all the law jargon and doing the marching. It's like, it's playing into the fact that, Elle is still kind of playing into her dits and into her looks. Like the two board members who want to admit her are mainly doing because of her looks, right? Like the whole multiculturalism, right? But like that's the whole thing there where it's like they're not giving the whole thing away right away where she's going to have this big change by the end and it's going to mature and find her new voice. This is still very much playing into, she's a bit of a ditz in this. Like, may I approach or I object. And now some legal jargon. Right? Exactly. Like it doesn't, shy away from, yeah, she's still a bit of a ditz. Like, yeah, she got into Harvard, but she isn't all the way there yet. She's still got a lot of ways to go to win the day. And
I love that. And I love that it comes out from all these other people and that she meets along the way. It comes out from Paulette. It comes out from Emmett. And when she's working on the trial with Brooke, like people who are ultimately in her corner. And then from that, it helps her kind of grow exactly into the person that she ends up being.
Yeah. All right. What's your number 3?
My final pick is Chip on My Shoulder.
You know, this vanity's real picturesque, but it started its life as a desk. Clear it off and find some room for books instead.
What are you doing?
Can you live without this? Can you live without that? I don't know what this is.
It's for hair.
Wear a hat. Spend some time improving what's inside your head. Out, out, put it in storage, sell it on eBay, leave it behind. Out, out, what, are you angry? Good, so get angry. You may find a chip on your shoulder. Ooh, the room just got colder.
Hey.
But with the chance you've been given, why are you not driven as hell? There's just no way around it. You gotta plow through till you
Found it!
been reading it hard, I can tell.
Good choice. Didn't make my list, but that was another montage song. I was like, okay, that could easily go in there. But I was like, What You Want was my montage / Elwood song. But it's a good one.
I love this. This has been one of my favorite songs since I first heard the cast recording. I always really love a character that is just so passionate about what they are after. And Emmett is that kind of person. And I love that it's like leading up to it. It's the moment where he's like, hey, so like, I don't really understand why you are so obsessed with this guy. Like, taken
He's the one that's tripping you up.
Yeah. And that comes up in the song. It's like, could it be the one thing that you want is the thing that's standing in your way?
Yeah.
Or the one thing that's standing in your way is the one you want. And like, he's another one that's rooting for Elle the whole time. And it like, you get a bit of his backstory about how, you know, he's always wanted to go to law school, and he's like, you can do this. You need a chip on your shoulder, you know, like you need to, if you really want to prove yourself to Warner, fine. But like, show everyone else here who's making fun of you that this is, you don't have to succumb to this.
Yeah.
Like,
and
prove it to them. Prove them wrong.
Prove it. I mean, it shows the right way to have a chip on your shoulder. Because Emmett is not egotistical. He's just someone who goes, I grew up in a bad situation and put myself through school. Because I mean, Harvard is not a cheap school. So I guarantee you,
it's not an easy school to get into either.
It's not an easy school. And I guarantee you, as he said, someone who was from a broken home, low income family, of course he was poo-pooed upon by people like Warner who come from the like Richie Rich world. Yeah. So, I mean, of course you'd have a bit of a chip on his shoulder, but it's not a jerky chip on his shoulder. It's a sincere chip on his shoulder. It's like, that's when people should have chips on their shoulder. It's like, yeah, work hard, absolutely, but don't be a dick. And I mean, Emmett is not a dick. Like, he is someone who goes, I'll be tough on you, Elle. Like, yeah, like you'll pass, but in the bottom percent of your class.
Yeah.
So if you're going for mediocre, yeah, you've done well. It's like, yeah, that's harsh, but it's true. Like, and he's doing it in a very sincere way, and it's great. I mean, once again, this is Elle's Rocky moment. This is her training montage where accumulates with her winning her argument in class with Callahan, right? About why this sperm? Great.
Yep.
But
it's a really good grounding moment.
But you see it set up all the way through as she's studying different things, right?
Yeah.
Like Malaman say and the whole thing about, and they actually do talk about this case about the sperm, right? Ahead of time. So it's like, it's good eggplant or story plants that ultimately pay off in the song.
I feel like this is kind of like the Act 2 parallel of What You Want.
Yes.
They both start the same way, right? Like with this kind of like end goal, and it like breaks into different segments with like the win at the end.
Yeah. Exactly. They're both montages. Right? I mean, both songs start with Elle at the bottom of the heap. I mean, both are in Act 1. But like Elle at
they are. Sorry,
that's okay. but like Elle starts this song with in the bunny costume, right?
Right.
Once again, bottom of it. So like this musical does a good job of knocking Elle down, only then to have her slowly but surely build herself up and build it up over this time period. Like you see the months pass by, Thanksgiving, Christmas, like it's all this chug along, and you're once again as you see her get ready, you go, okay, I'm getting into it, just like Rocky running up those stairs in Philadelphia, right? Like. I guess that whole thing is that same type of determination and drive that you see what Elle's potential is. Like once again, she's not just the blonde bimbo in the Playboy bunny costume. She does have a brain, and she is someone who can do more. Like people forget, like yeah, she's got a 4.0. Like she's not some idiot. When she actually applies herself and wants to do well in something, she can do it. Like that is set up early on. Like clearly she has a passion for fashion and merchandising. So it's not unthinkable that she would have a high 4.0 GPA, which means, hey, when she wants to really apply herself to win Warner over, she's going to apply that same determination, and she does. But it takes a bit of work. It's not, she jumps in right away. Like Emma comes into her bedroom, right? The book isn't even unwrapped out of its saran wrap.
Her desk has magazines and hair products all over it. Like,
right? Exactly. Like there's a journey in that song. Just like how there's a journey for getting into Harvard. There's a journey of her studying and turning her life around.
That's right.
To win the day. And it's great. Like it's another great example of just how this musical did a really good job of adapting something that in the film, it's a lot of mini scenes like Elle in the library, Elle helping that nerdy guy win over some girls who call him a geek. Yeah. Right? Like there's that whole sequence in the movie where she is getting better and better and better over time.
And
you see her
smarter.
get a laptop, right?
Yeah. She's getting better and smarter. Like she's learning to play the game.
Exactly. And
like she's being challenged and she's taking the challenge head on.
She takes the challenge head on. And I mean, it ends with her handing in her pink resume that's scented to Callahan, right? So no, it's a great choice. Great choice. My number 3 is There, Right There. Or as it's also known as Gay or European.
That is the elephant in the room. Well, is it relevant to presume that's a hottie in that costume? Is automatically, radically,
ironically, chronically,
certainly,
genetically, medically gay,
officially gay, gay. Damn it! Gay or European?
So stylish and relaxed.
Is he gay or European?
I think his chest is waxed.
But they bring their boys out different there. It's culturally diverse. It's not a fashion curse. If he wears a kilt or bears a purse, gay or just exotic, I still can't crack the code.
Yeah, his accent is hypnotic, but his shoes are pointy-toed.
Huh, gay or European, so many shades of gray.
But if he turns out straight, I'm free at 8 on Saturday.
Is he gay or European? Gay or European? Gay or European?
Wait a minute.
That made my other list.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, this is the song I've been humming since we said we're gonna do it. Like, this has been such a catchy tune, and it's an earworm, and it's great in the sense of it's a really comic way of exploring an actual law strategy argument. Because if they're gonna go after this tactic, this would be the way they would probably go about it. Where it's it's like if we're gonna accuse this guy of being gay, then if this backfires, we could look homophobic. It's not going to go well. So what else could it be? Like, what's the other explanation? Well, he's gay or he's European. Right? But it's like, in the arguments that come up with, it's like, like in Europe, it's not a fashion curse if he wears a skirt or has a purse. Right? Like, I mean, it's just these great little one-liners, and the arguments are like, actually, like, I mean, it's staged in a really funny way where you don't know what Carlos is up to on the stand, like he's flirting with the bailiff, and then he also turns around and flirts with the stenographer as well. And I mean, it's such a great. He's gay. Damn it, gay or European? Like it's just so great, and it just once again, it's taking this moment from the film of Elle as at the water fountain, she taps her shoes and does the whole like
don't snap your last year's Prada at me,
right? Exactly, but
Prada.
Yeah, exactly. And then she goes, light bulb. In the movie or in the show, it's the bend and snap because we just did that song. So it's a good callback. there. But once again, it proves the point of Elle catches something,
Mhm.
and then the musical takes a moment like that and kernels it and spins it out into a really fun number that ultimately builds to Emmett figuring it out and getting one. And then, unlike in the movie, where the movie kind of ends with his partner standing up in the courtroom going, "You bastard, you lying bastard," and storming out, the musical actually does a better job in this moment where it goes, "Yeah, he's gay and he's European."
Mhm.
So really, they're kind of saying he's almost bisexual without saying he's bisexual. And then on top of that, then ultimately, it shows the couple happy that they're now able to reveal themselves and they're not hiding anymore.
Yeah.
It's a happy ending to the song versus in the movie where it's like, oh, great, so we just outed this guy and now his partner's mad at him and that you never hear anything else about it. But at least in the musical, they took a really nice job and did a nice ending to it that actually makes it a better moment than it is in the 2001 film adaptation of that moment.
Right.
But I mean, it's great. I mean, it's just a fun Act 2 number. It does its job. It makes the courtroom scene dynamic. Because once again, if you don't have that song there, it's just a lot of dialogue scenes without much music. So you do need a song at that point in the story to fill things in. So yeah, I always like there right there. I think it should go back to sort of gayer European for better title for the song. It's so funny, but so good. It's such a good song. I enjoy it. But at Elfie, why did it make your other list?
For like the opposite reasons of what you said.
Good.
I just feel like I don't know if it needed to be a song. Like the court scene, I feel is like, and maybe this is kind of it in the movie too, but I feel like in the musical, it feels a little junky. Like there's just like a lot that happens and it goes like court and then not, and then we're back in and then we're not. And like, so, but like, I don't know. I feel like it is a fun, campy song for sure. And it definitely brings a laugh. And I feel like you kind of do need that laugh when you're doing like all these court scene moments. But I don't know. I just could do without it.
Well, at least I won you over on Ireland. I'll take
the little wins.
Exactly. I'll take the loss on there right there. But yeah, I mean, I totally get it. I mean, once again, the courtroom scenes are clunky. I mean, I think you can make a very valid argument that in this musical, you could easily do what they did in 1776, where the scenes that are the arguments in Congress are not musicalized. They're done straight, meaning no music, just this is the scene, we're taking it seriously. And then when you come out of the Congress or like you come out of the courtroom, then you have a song there. But I could totally see an argument of where, I mean, we talked about this earlier, where how for some reason in the musical they go to a bathroom or like the scene of the crime, which is like that's not necessary.
No, and would never happen in real life.
Well, I mean, you can go back to a scene of a crime.
But are we bringing all the witnesses and the judge and the jury to the scene of a crime?
You don't bring the witnesses. You bring the jury, and you actually do bring the judge.
Oh, I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, it's very notably happened in the case of OJ, where the jury got to go visit his house as well as Nicole Brown Simpson's house, and Johnny Cochran, the lawyer, very notably redid OJ's house to make it look more ethnic, to appeal to the black jury. And the judge actually
don't accept me to Harvard.
And the judge actually did have like a whole like mini courtroom session on the front lawn of the house, because what Marcia Clark was arguing that the jury shouldn't be allowed in because the scene had been changed, and the judge ruled against her and let the people in. That's a whole other story. But yes, they do visit the scene of a crime. But I just go, in this you don't need to. It's a pointless scene change. Like, why did we change the scene?
It feels like filler. Like
it is
the moment's about to happen.
Yeah,
just leave it.
Yeah, right.
And just like if there was actual evidence there, then maybe. But instead, it's just like Enid got a perm, so hop in the shower and see that the hair gets wet. Ugh.
Yeah, don't need to.
Just have Elle have her moment.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So, but yeah, they're right there. So let us know, listeners, what are your thoughts on this song? Which list does it belong on? Let us know. But yeah, all right. Let's go into the top zones either with skip or a cut. Your number one was there right there. My number one song is the one that comes right before there, right there, and it's the Take It Like a Man song.
Thank you.
I know you're scared, nevertheless. Think of the people you want to impress. Swallow your pride for me, just not yes. And prepare, cause something's in the air.
I think it's love.
Exactly. Here you'll become what you're supposed to be. You think you can't, but you can. Think of the guy you want most to be. Here's your chance to make it, so take it like a man.
Oh, interesting.
I don't like it. It's a generic
No?
makeover song. It
Sure.
has very similar staging to the song from Sunset Boulevard called The Lady's Paying, where basically, once again, Norma Desmond pays for her writer guy to get a makeover. And this is Elle basically doing the same thing, where it's doing the stupid trope of the gawky person is in frumpy clothes, but all of a sudden we've actually put them in a suit, and oh my goodness, I see you in a whole new light.
Ooh,
What?
it's like the makeover scene in the rom-coms where she takes off her glasses.
Yes,
and
it
she's beautiful.
is, and it's like that was never part of the movie. Elle never takes Emmett to a shopping store in the movie
No.
because Emmett already knows how to dress. And I mean, like if you're a TA and working for someone like Callahan, you would already know how to dress appropriately. And
I guarantee you would have been in at least one courtroom. I just
Exactly.
observed.
Exactly. So for me, I just go, it's just so generic and boring. And I mean, I much rather would have just had Emmett do a song after Elle hands in her resume and Callahan walks away saying, "Oh God, it's scented." And Emmett's just left alone on stage. I mean, he has a bit of that moment with the with the end of Chip on Her Shoulder, but I mean, you could have done something bigger there. Incorporate some of those bigger moments of I'm starting to develop something for you.
Yeah, and he doesn't really have a song.
He does have a solo song. Like, he has these songs that he's
these
partnered up with them.
moments, but like,
Yeah.
I would see a solo song from Emmett.
Right? Exactly. For me, I just go, you could have easily done a better job incorporating the idea that Emmett has a budding crush on Elle than doing a whole makeover scene. Like, it just feels forced where it's like, okay, Callahan's mad, so get out of my sight, you two. Okay,
Right.
great, let's go to the mall. And it's like, what is this place? It's called a department store. Seriously? This guy has never in his life been to a department store? Like, I get he's from a low income family with a single mom that he wants to buy a house for, but the guy isn't that dumb. I mean, come on. Like,
Yeah.
you know? So, I mean, for me, I just go, skip.
Mm-hmm.
What's your number 2?
My number 2 is Blood in the Water.
All right then, you heard your classmate. You have just been killed. She cut your throat, so grab your coat. Yes, you've got guts, but now they're spilled. Your blood's in the water. So would you please withdraw? And if you return, be ready to learn. Or is it unfair? Oh wait, I don't care. That's just how I rule. His life is in school with fear and shock and awe. You're nothing until the thrill of a kill becomes your only love. Your only love. Your only love.
Almost made my list. Go ahead.
I just skip it. I just forget about it. I don't like a lot of villain songs. Some I do.
Villain songs have to be done right.
Yeah.
I mean, this is very much in the line of poor, unfortunate souls, be prepared. Like, it's very Disney in the sense of like, and here comes your villain.
Yeah.
Like, it's not very subtle. Like, it's not like Soliloquy or The Lonely Room in Oklahoma, where Judd is a sympathetic villain that you feel bad for, and you kind of understand why he's going after Lori the way he does. Here, it's like Callahan's a white guy in a suit, and he's gonna sing about blood in the water. He's gonna give all these horrible examples of
It's like, oh,
Random
I'm
Boston
the bad
Marconi,
scary
so,
law teacher, and
right. Exactly. For me, I just go, it's so over the top, like sledgehammery of, is he a bad guy? Yeah, because he would take the case up against the granny who lost all her money to the guy who spent it all on blow and prostitutes. So I mean, she gets a person from legal from legal aid,
Right.
and you call her crazy, and you win the case. It's like, yeah, he's a bad guy. Ergo, like, not much gain there. It's like, you should have done something a little bit more interesting with that moment of introducing this character than just blood in the water.
It's not memorable. Like,
yeah, it's kind of, it's there. I mean, it does its job of setting up Callahan, but it's like, could we have done any? Like, it would be better to really lean. I mean, when Victor Garber does it in the movie, everybody knows Victor Garber as Thomas Andrews. He's a nice guy. So when he has that moment with Elle where he hits on her, and in the movie, it's not as overt as him kissing her. It's more just him putting his hand on her leg that Vivian sees. But once again, Victor Garber is good because he played nice at first. Like, you bought into him being kind of this older professor. Sure, a little bit rough around the edges, but not creepy. This Callahan comes out right away, and you're like, when's he gonna come after Ellen?
Oh, well, like, I don't know if like, he definitely starts out rough around the edges, and like, you just sort of assume that he's gonna be the villain, but I feel like you don't really get that in the movie. Like, you just
Victor Garber's much kinder. I mean,
so like, I wonder if instead, like, because when you have a song like Blood in the Water, you're setting it up as like,
bad guy.
He's this big scary bad guy. What if instead it was like, I don't know, I don't want to say like maybe a more gentle introduction, and then we get a reprise after when he hits on Elle. Yeah. And then all the true colors are out.
Right? That would be a much stronger choice.
Right?
Than that. I agree. I agree.
Like, there's some villains portrayed that you see that start off, like you said, they start off nice, and then eventually, like, their colors,
and that's more realistic, right? I mean,
so much more realistic. Like,
I mean, look at the girl, right? I mean, that's why so many people got away with stuff for so long before Me Too. That's because everyone, oh no, he's not a bad guy. Then it's like, behind a closed door, he actually is an awful person.
Yeah.
Right. And I love your idea of doing the reprise of a song with Callahan when he's confronting Elle after she slaps him. That's a much scarier moment where you can really get into something really scary. With that versus coming right out of the gate being like, and here comes your bad guy. Here's your bad guy. The sleazy lawyer. Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, it really kind of undercuts the character of Callahan. And it makes you go, oh, you kind of dilute some of the magic of the film that Victor Garber brought. I mean, maybe that is just Victor Garber, where he as an actor is someone who you really identify with, and kind of go, oh yeah, like, he's this kind of nice Canadian guy. And it's like, oh no, he can play really mean when he wants to. And that's what makes that moment scary in the movie, is when you go, oh crap, you really wear the wolf in the sheep's clothing. Here it's just like, no, this is just the wolf. Who's come to hang out with you. And
we're starting off singing about sharks and blood in the water. You should not be surprised by Act 2.
Right? Exactly. So, okay, so my number 2, though, is Harvard Variations.
I want a Fulbright and the roads. My right fine ankle software codes. My mother is plus law. Harvard's the perfect place for me. Harvard's the perfect place for
Warner! Excuse me. Pardon me. Coming through!
Harvard's the perfect place for me. Pretty impressive, good to know. Welcome to Harvard.
Oh my God, Warner! I totally forgot you go here.
That one, I get that there's a similar scene in the movie where everybody sits around in a circle on the quad and introduces themselves. But I just go, this is such a big exposition dump. And it's basically just to give Elle time to change costumes, right? Because she has to get out of her drum circle marching band outfit.
It's like dear old shiz.
It is
It's
like
an
Church Shoes, which
unnecessary song that you need a filler.
right?
While
It's a
someone
filler
does a
song.
costume change.
Yeah, and I mean, like that's the whole thing where like Emmett and Eden or Enid Hoops are the only two characters that have any importance. The other two people who like are introduced
You never
never
hear
come
back
back.
again.
I'm like, if you had brought what's his name, at least one of them back, or at least maybe done a better job of bringing back that gawky character from the movie that Elle helps with the women and it's really nice to her. Like that would have been better. Is have him there and then you have him and Enid as like the two people that came out of that song. But really, it's like, why am I hearing this song for people who never come back, or at least change two of them out to maybe Vivian and Warner? Because
Warner's too easy of a giveaway.
True.
Vivian maybe because Elle doesn't know Vivian because Elle sits in on that circle. So
right.
if she sits in on a circle with Warner,
true. Yeah,
he's
so
not going to be paying
Vivian
attention.
For sure.
So yeah,
put Vivian in there.
I agree.
Yeah, that song is for me. I just go. It sounds nice. Like I love the 3-part character parts, and the fact they're all different rhythms. Or I want to fall bright hand a rose. Like it is very hummable. I will give it that, but I just go. I know as a theater person, I know why it's here, and I also go. Is it really like you're going to do that? At least give me characters who will ultimately come back and become recognizable faces, relevant to, besides Enid Hoops, who is a great character, very underrated supporting.
Oh, great!
She's just funny. I love Enid Hoops.
It's like it's the filler for a costume change, and it's like it gives kind of like the eerie intro for Harvard because Elle doesn't know what she's getting into, which but this show has a few filler songs, like the Delta New song. There's a couple of reprises I could forget.
You already have.
I already have. Oh, that was in there? Oh, right.
Okay, what's your number 3?
My number 3, speaking of reprises, is the serious reprise.
Those parties senior year, I thought we ruled the world.
You funneled all that beer. I held your head when you hurled.
We were like gods back then, walking among common men. Tell me, why can't it be that way again?
Dreams don't just disappear. We could keep on dreaming them here.
What?
Like senior year, but funner. You've got your future all planned.
Yes, I do.
What if I'm standing there too?
Wait, I'm not following you.
I'm here 'cause I understand.
Not sure I understand.
I'm here 'cause I'm serious.
Yeah, right. You look real serious.
Oh, is that the one that Elle sings at the party with Emmett or Warner?
It's the one that Warner and Elle sing at the party.
Yeah, that almost made my list. I didn't
Who
like the
needs
first version of the
it?
series either.
I didn't either, but of course Warner has to have a song.
Well, it makes sense that he would have a song. I just go, you don't need a reprise of it at the party.
And no, you
It's not
don't.
necessary.
No.
See, he sings it once at the top of the show to break up with her, and then never.
And that's fine.
again.
And that's all you need it for.
Yeah.
Everything they're singing, they can say. Like, it's literally
Right?
just
Exactly.
dialogue.
Right? I mean, like,
They
it's
don't
much
need
better
it.
to have a song in that moment of. I would have loved a trio of Warner, Vivian, and Elle.
And Elle.
Like all three of them at the party,
Yeah.
right? Like Elle feels awkward. Vivian is gloating at she got Elle. And then
Warner's just in the middle.
torn between the two women. Like he's got his Jackie and his Marilyn. Like that actually would be a really good song.
Oh,
with Jackie.
that would have been a really good song. Call it
And-
Jackie and Marilyn.
But that's
Marilyn
the
and
whole thing of
Jackie.
like that could have given Warner actually some depth, where he's seeing the really hot ex-girlfriend, and his new girlfriend who is playing politics at this party.
Mm-hmm.
So his whole thing of, oh, what's going on? Like, do I still have feelings? And Vivian just
Did I
going,
make a mistake?
yeah. And Vivian just there being like, yep, got you. Like,
Mhm.
like got you in my trap, Elle. You fell right for it. What an idiot you are.
Well, that would have been really good.
That would have been a
Vivian-
much better choice for that moment of.
Vivian
If you're-
doesn't get a song either.
No, she
Um,
only gets a
he
little
gets-
one remix.
Yeah, where she belts that one bit and that's it. Yeah, that would have been interesting. And especially too, because like the party scene in the movie isn't very long, so I can understand why.
It's
probably
not a long
as
because
fleshed
Elle
out,
shows
but-
up in costume. She tries
Yeah.
to make it work. She does, and she leaves,
Mhm.
and that's it.
Yeah. That would have been interesting though.
Creative
feel like
team, go
I
back and rewrite a
I
moment.
feel like
here.
you could have a lot of fun with that.
Creative team, go back and rewrite a moment here. Come on, we're giving you gold for free.
Yeah.
All right, my number 3 though is one that comes before Ireland, and that is Positive.
Look at her, she's like a nun. Showing you are way more fun. Bust out the lap dance and you won. You off the hizzle, G. What? Keep it positive. Yeah! Rip off your clothes and dance. Keep it positive. Miss Fancy Pants don't stand a chance. You will whet his appetite. You and he will reunite. You know we're right. We're positive. We're positive.
Oh, I kind of like Positive.
Ugh,
I think it's cute.
it's cute, but I'm like, it's another generic upset ex-girlfriend song where all else want to do is like claw out Vivian's eyes. And I'm like, I get it. But it's like, seriously, can we not have done anything else in this moment? Like, another moment for Vivian to give her a song to sing to Elle about like women sticking together. It's like, no, you didn't come prepared. So
Yeah.
I had every right to cut you down because
That would have
there's
been
blood in the water.
that would have been like a good villain moment where
Yeah.
you think Vivian's the villain, and then
Yes.
by the second act you're like, oh no, she's not. Because that's
Right?
what happens. That's what happens in the movie too.
A
Like,
little bit. It's a little bit different in the movie. Where
Well, like if you're rooting,
Vivian doesn't.
if you're
forget-
rooting for Elle, I mean,
yeah.
in the sense that if you're rooting for Elle, you see Vivian and you're like, oh, I hate Vivian because I want Elle
Right?
to be with Warner.
But Vivian's right.
That would have been so good.
Yes,
Hello,
Right?
creative team. We are giving you gold.
for free.
If you want to rewrite,
Rewrite. Because I mean, for me, I just go the only
have our
importance
people
of-
call your people.
Yeah, exactly. Like for me, I just go the importance of this song is to set up Elle's imaginary Greek chorus, which is an element.
Yeah.
As I've always said, it's unnecessary. It's like I get why they're there because they have to give somebody for Elle to talk to sometimes. But I just
Yeah.
go, it's such a forced theater concept where it's like, and here's your imaginary friends, and it's like, what else do they do besides a few times talking to Elle? It's like they're there to chime in on shit. It's like,
They
oh my god,
really-
look at his face, or like, oh my goodness, we're changing seasons. Like, bend and snap. It's like suddenly Paulette can see the Elle's imaginary people. It's like,
Yeah, right?
that makes no sense.
No, it doesn't. And like the Greek chorus works in bits. Like having it with positive is fine, but like
Yeah.
you can just like
Cut them.
leave. Well, but like what is it? It's during Chip on My Shoulder where
Yeah.
like they show up during the seasonal changes.
Mhm.
That can just like
It's cutesy,
be
but you
a
don't need
thing.
it.
But like it can just like it doesn't have to be Greek chorus. Like you can just
Yeah.
like leave the scene.
It's
as
true.
it
Just
is,
have the
and-
calendar.
Oh,
flip.
showing it like well, it's cute having them in there, I guess, but like
It's
it
cute. Once
doesn't
again, it's
it
not
doesn't have to be
necessary.
directly associated. But the fact that like they are set up to be in throughout the show,
Yeah.
and then they're like kind of not really.
They like disappear.
They have
for
like their
majority of
one
Act Two.
song, and then they're
Yeah.
they're gone for the majority of Act 2, and then Bend and Snap.
Feel how hot it's getting there. Step, and when you got 'em sweating, spring the trap. They'll cheer and clap. No time intended fair, 'cause the band is
I feel
Not a
like you
great
can-
song. It almost made my list. I like the moment. It's
Ooh.
funny, but I just
It's
go the fact that you have to-
necessary for the story
Yeah.
because it's the same in the
It's
the
a
same
very
in the
famous
movie.
scene from the movie, but I just go. You didn't even
But-
have Paulette see Elle's imaginary friends. It makes no sense.
And no, you can have it be how it is in the movie, which is Elle demonstrating it to Paulette.
Yeah,
And then
Exactly.
just have the
guys
ensemble join in for the rest of the song.
Damn. So good.
Breaks
But
Kyle's
yeah,
nose.
like positive.
Yeah.
I just go. Should have given a song to Vivian here. That would have been a much
That would've
stronger
been
moment
so
for
cool.
her. And I just go, the only thing you're doing in this moment is setting up the Greek chorus. Better than that, I just go, it's not doing much else. Just get me to Ireland. Just get Elle into the
The salon.
yeah, because I mean, you can have Vivian sing a song, and Elle is left and goes, "Oh, I need to go get a hair job. I need to go to a dye job to go dye my hair to be more like her."
Yeah. Well, and like she has that moment with Vivian where it's like, why
Mhm.
would you do that to another girl? Why would you
We
call
gotta
me
stick
out like
together.
that? And Vivian's like, not my fault. You didn't come prepared. And just
She's
like
right.
I said, like I said, she could come across as like the conniving,
Yeah.
screw you, like
Yeah.
dumb blonde. What are you doing here? Like
And
you didn't work to get in law school, and
Yeah.
like that's the blood in the water moment.
it is blood in the water, and I mean, that's what's great about Vivian's speech in that is that you didn't come prepared,
Mm-hmm.
so sucks to suck.
Mm-hmm.
Like plain and
Sorry,
simple.
not
huh?
sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, not sorry. Like you didn't come prepared. Ergo, be prepared to get cut down.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great Vivian moment that you could have really musicalized there instead of this stupid generic. I'm angry. I want to claw her eyes out. Oh wait, let me twerk at her. Right? Like it's that shit there where I'm just like, this is so dumb. Skip.
Or like introduce the
Yeah.
Greek chorus and just don't make a song about it.
Yeah, just have them show up, and it's like, hey, Al. It's like, who the hell? Like, what are you guys doing here? We're not here.
Well, in the movie, she just calls her friends.
She
And
does. Yeah.
It's like a 2-minute moment. It's not even-
Right? Exactly.
So I feel like they just like wanted to make a song out of that,
They did. Yeah.
which is fine. But yeah, I see where you're coming from.
Okay. Final section, Ms. J. Maxwell, which is, does this musical still have a place today? Should it be revived?
I do think it still has a place.
Mhm.
I think it just everything we've been talking about. This is a really great story about this kind of underdog who defies the stereotypes. And I think that is a message that is as important then as it is now.
Mhm.
And so I think that message can totally still be relevant on Broadway.
Yeah.
I would also say that it's still fairly relevant or it's gotten like kind of like a resurgence in relevancy because everyone seems to really be obsessed with the 2000s, early 2000s.
Yep.
And included in that, like, there are like Instagram accounts dedicated to early 2000s pop culture. And so in that is Legally Blonde. So I feel like if you were to bring it back, at least right now, I feel like the demand, like there would be people who would want to go see it. And yeah, I think the story's got a really good message. It's got a strong female lead, which we can always use more of. I would change some things as we've have kind of talked about.
The book could do some refining, not major overhauls, like maybe update some of the lyrics in gay or European, like get away from some of the stereotypes that you mentioned in there.
Yeah,
and
and
Booth could be a little bit more refined, not just generic lesbian jokes, but
like you remember for what it was when it like 2006, 2007 was a different time than what it was now. So
I mean, you forget 2007, the right for gay marriage was not legal everywhere. So to have a whole song where it ends with these two men kissing and hugging each other and accepting their relationship, that was big.
Yeah. Well, and even still, when the movie came out in 2001, like so yeah, I think there's definitely some fine tuning. I feel like you can even probably polish some of the current songs, maybe cut some songs, have a whole Vivian moment.
Yes, give Vivian her moment.
Give him a little moment.
Hashtag Vivian gets her moment.
But yeah, otherwise, I think it still deserves a place.
Yeah, for me, I enjoyed this musical. This is still one I bop to. It's got good music in it. Like I was listening to the album at work today as I was at my desk doing paperwork, and it gave me the energy to get things done. Like it's got good energy to it. It's got a good message that still resonates with audiences today, and especially now after the big Me Too wave, even bigger win for Elle Woods when she slaps Callahan. I'm sure we'll get a bigger audience moment out of that. Like this musical just knows what it is. It's a high energy comedy with a universal message that is told with sincerity and not just for laughs.
Mm-hmm.
And it delivers, and it's good. I mean, once again, as you said, sometimes we just need a good feel-good musical.
Yeah.
And this is one of them where I think coming out of COVID lockdowns or people being locked down, it's been depressing and dark and miserable. Broadway shut down. This is one of those shows that is just an up-spirited show that just brings people back.
Yeah, and it's silly
and it's family. It's a family
quirky
show.
And wow, I don't know if it's a family show.
I could see people taking their daughters to go see this. I mean, I wouldn't take like my 4-year-old cousin to see it, but maybe I would take like my like a teenager, like a tween.
Yeah,
because I mean the movie was
I would start
PG-13 back in the day, so I mean, like as long as you're not taking like a 4-year-old to this. I mean, even then, like take a 4-year-old. What's the worst thing in this story that besides Callahan hitting on Elle, but he gets his comeuppance in the end? Yeah. So, I mean, I can't really think of one really bad thing. I mean, it's like you see a dead body. But yeah, I just say, bring it back. I think we are well warranted for a comeback. I mean, heck, MTV could do a revival season of Search for Elle Woods, and you can find someone to play Elle Woods for Broadway. Make her an unknown actress.
Yeah.
Give her that chance. There's lots of great casting you can do in this, too. Like, you can really play around with this show and have some real fun with it. And it's got dogs.
The one important thing we failed to mention is that there are real dogs in the show.
I mean, I don't like Chihuahuas, but I'll happily take Paulette's dog, Rufus. I mean, that is a beautiful English bulldog. That's my favorite type of dog. That's the only dog I would ever get is an English bulldog. All right. And on that note, Jay Maxwell, where can people find and follow you?
You can find me on all social platforms under the handle JStephMax and on my blog, soundsaboutright.com. But that's right spelled WRITE because we love a pun.
Love a pun, love a pun. You can find and follow our theme music composer, Mr. Brody Well, at Father Floses. Check out his latest album, Locusts. He's got another one in the works that he just announced. So check all that out. Spotify, Bandcamp, Apple Music, all the spots for that. You can check out Autumn Night's Patreon at Before the Downbeat, where we do all things from top 10 lists to theater news breakdowns, reviews, movie musical commentaries. Heck, maybe we'll even do a review of the pro shot of Legally Blonde from MTV, and we'll bring Jessica on for that one. But we do all types of fun stuff like that, so check that on out. And I will happily plug and say, check out the Algonquin Theatre if you are from the GTA Ontario area here in Canada to go see Autumn's production of Rent that she is mounting in 1 month. She has 1 whole month to mount a whole musical, so she is deep in it. So we are sending her all the best wishes, and we can't wait to see that. Jessica and I may check that out together. Yeah. All right. Other than that, everybody, you can follow me at Mackenzie Horner on social media platforms. You can check out my work with Cup of Hemlock, where I am the co-artistic producer of the company. We just did a duet review of Diana the Musical and all types of good stuff there. Until then, everybody, stay healthy, stay safe. I'm going to say now that for the next 2 weeks, we are doing a slight hiatus where we'll be going back into the vaults, releasing 2 remastered episodes of our Oliver double-parter, because why not go back and remaster that before Autumn's back to wrap up the last 2 episodes of the season. So, and I will say our season finale is a show that Jessica and I have both performed in. So there's an early hint.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
I think I know what it is.
Tell me more, Jessica. Tell me more. There we go. All right, everybody. Stay healthy, stay safe, and oh my God.
My God, you guys.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. And look out for that blood in the water. Thanks, everybody.